Last time on CritNet. After gathering the last of the material and information needed from Relic to hunt their new quarries down on the second level of the fracture, the group prepared to set off when two new members to the Guild of No One, Camden and Ela, entered the room. Last-minute names added to the contract, seeming to give a bit more assurance of its success. After exchanging talks about hammers and hunts, the group descended into the fracture, where within the mist they pushed forward towards Mistinsweat. On the journey, they caught a sighting of what may have been the rumored silvered shade that haunts the various levels of the fracture, but all too soon, it vanished, leaving them soon within the shadow of the broken outer wall of Mistinsweat. Hello everyone, and welcome to CritNet, episode 7. We have our wonderful returning guests here. Say hello.
Hello.
There you go. My name's Tris Leader.
And I'm Forest Leader.
And we're stoked to be here. Both of us were
cast members.
Both of us were cast members on the now wrapped Myth Guided Forgotten Lore. And I was recently in the all TikTok cast of Off the Beaten Path, the musical, D&D themed choose your own adventure style musical presented on Zoom. You can find me on Twitter at Tris_Joy or on TikTok with the same handle.
And I also was in the all TikTok cast of Off the Beaten Path and am also a lyricist with Off the Beaten Path musical, fantasy and science fiction musical commissions. And coming in January, I'll also be a guest game master for the Kruz show on their Twitch channel in their series, The Omniverse Chronicles, which is on Monday nights from 8 to 11 Eastern time.
Wow, you pulled that out real well. Good job.
Pay attention.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And they've got great stuff going on right now too. So.
Well, we are more than elated to have you back.
Thank
and
you.
The rest of you, we already know about you, so we'll skip everyone else.
Thanks. Yeah, we're boring.
Here's a selfless plug. You can also hear about Myth Guided and hear Forest and Tris on my podcast, Creators and On, if you want to go check it out too.
That was a fun interview.
Yes, that was.
Yeah.
Very good. All right, so now, you all having just now reached the outer skirts of the city of Mistinsweat, where your quarries, the Mourned, lay within. What do you do?
Eureka! It's finished, guys!
Kruz is going to look up at Ghastgar and go, thanks for taking my thunder. And then he's going to say, guys, we've been walking for 8-10 hours. Let's find somewhere to dry and rest our feet. And hopefully we can get out of this water and wring out some socks or something, because let's get some rest in before we try to move any further.
I agree. My hooves are starting to get waterlogged. Yeah, and I'm like, can we find a place to do some target practice? Because I'm super stoked on this little thing.
Doesn't sound like restful to me, but...
I mean, it's a town, isn't it? There's buildings.
Hopefully.
They're probably full of things that need to be killed, right?
Is there a problem with that?
I don't think so.
DM, apologies.
Yes.
You said that we came upon it's like big arch.
Mm-hmm.
With...
Big stone archway, like big walls extending in both directions.
Okay.
Are the doors closed in the arch?
Oh no, they're open.
Are they broken off? They're smashed. Okay.
Okay.
They're smashed.
Are they broken off?
They're smashed.
Okay.
Can I cast Identify on this arch? See if there's anything within it or on it that's weird.
Sure.
Okay. I'd like to do so before anybody steps through it.
Casting Identify upon the arch, you do not find anything untoward on it.
All right. I look at everybody. Seems all right, I think. And a little shut-eye sounds good to me.
I would say, especially given your exceptional roll last time, and I'll build off of that because a 29 in 5e is very difficult to achieve, casting Identify on the arch doesn't produce anything. But in focusing on it, you do notice in the top right corner, for some reason Ghastgar shouting made your head look up, and there you see a faint humanoid figure. Just standing. Not dark or anything, but just the outline of one.
On top of the arch.
Yep, just to the right, where the wall is.
I'll look at it and, well, maybe they can give us some suggestions on where to go. And I kind of gesture up that direction for everybody to see.
Okay. You all see the same figure.
Does that look like a person to you?
No, it looks like another ghost.
I'd like to take a closer look into it and see if it looks anything like the silvered shade that I was suspicious about earlier.
Okay, roll a perception check. Still with disadvantage at the moment.
But I got keen mongoose eyes. Oh, 6.
Looks humanoid in shape. Hey, it was your assistance that helped her see this in the first place, so I will roll it back after that one. But nonetheless.
I'm going to look over at Parker and go, Parker, do you think we should just ignore this shadow and go find somewhere? Or what do you think, Parker?
I'm not quite sure. Vall, you have prior knowledge of the gods. Do any of them have anything to do with souls or ghosts? Well, there's a good way to die and a bad way to die.
I think there are a lot of bad ways to die.
Oh, there are very many.
I'd like to... Is this thing, like, moving at all? Is it just, like, there?
Completely stationary.
I pull out the wand from my right ear, and
Okay.
I shoot off fairy fire at each object in a 20-foot cube. And so I'd like to obviously make that cube for having this thing be kind of like right on the edge of that cube, so it's not illuminating us as well, is outlined in blue, green, or violet light.
Unable to resist this, you do see this humanoid suddenly alight, becoming outlined in a cacophony of blue, purple, and green that defines its shape more. You're able to see a shield and a spear at its side and at rest, as if it is at attention. Just standing there. Doesn't move, doesn't react to the fire. Just continues to stare. And I guess with the light, you'd be able to see that it is, in fact, transparent. The light kind of passing through it and bending as it does, creating more of a distortioned image than anything else.
It's a soul that is standing guard on this place. I don't think it's going to cause any issues unless we cause an issue with it.
Aye. In fact. Oi, you there.
You see its head slightly turned down towards you.
It's got you standing around so much.
It just stares.
Talk to him like you're asking for entrance like you would like a random city.
That's fair. Have we leave to enter, guardsman?
You see him gesture with his spear deeper into the city before returning it to his side.
All right. I think that's permission enough. What do you guys say we go?
I move forward.
Can you ask it if I can blow something up?
No. No, I'm not going to do that.
But
No.
hey, can I blow something up?
Ignore him.
I'm gonna nudge him on my horns and like shake him a little bit. Just be like, "Shut up, dude."
Guardsman, The city is past, and your watch has ended. Go on to your reward.
You see his eyes fall to his feet where you cannot see.
He's up high.
Mm-hmm.
Is there purchase?
Amongst the rubble, you could climb it fairly easily to get up to him.
I will do so.
I'm going to put a hand on his shoulder and tell him, don't. This is the fracture. Your souls are cursed to be here until we find what's holding the curse. If you go up there, it's not going to turn out well.
Sounds like a bunch of superstitious mumbo jumbo.
Everyone deserves a place in the afterlife. And I go up.
Before he goes, I want to cast guidance.
Very good. Climbing up this broken rubble is not hard at all. And getting up, you do find this to be a humanoid. And getting even closer, a human. Dressed in basic garb, robes, everything transparent. Large shield, spear. But his eyes that had fallen to his feet are trained on a small crumpled piece of paper.
I reach down and pick up the piece of paper.
It is a letter. And it is sealed on the back, and on the front it says, "To my love," and then the name is mildly smudged. But you're able to read the last name of Rose.
And I carry this for you.
The guardsman look to you, a small silver bauble hanging around his neck. You see his eyes try to train upon first the bauble and then the letter. And he looks to you and you see a lightly blue colored tear slip by and then kind of fade back into his being as it slightly nods to you. And then turns its head back out to the ether.
He wears a pendant, as you do.
He nods and gestures to the left side of the city to a small, broken pile of rubble, 3 buildings down.
Kruz is going to shout up and say, Camden, do you see anywhere where you can camp?
I'll take a look around.
Are you still interacting with the guard, though?
I was kind of look back and
So Kruz, as you say that, I kind of very not hurting wise, just kind of smack your shoulder, give him a moment. We can look at that in a minute.
Hey, Camden, is this guy interested in communicating at all, or is he just a statue? Because I can't see what's going on up there, is my assumption.
Well, I've been talking with him this whole time. You think I just talking?
Talking to nothing.
Oi, yes.
Can you ask him if he's seen a glass oculus anywhere around here?
What the hell is an oculus?
Can you ask him if he knows where a red building with a round window is?
Sure. The rat over there wants to know if you have seen any red buildings with circle windows.
You see him point this time straight down the middle of the city, into further than you can see.
He says yes.
Aha! Take it you know where? Ish?
Yeah. That way.
Okay.
Does anybody else want me to ask the Soylent Ghost any questions?
At this point, Ela has a very angry look on her, she's just kind of staring down everybody a little bit I flippin' dare you. Do it.
Say something.
Hey, never mind.
All right. Thank you, guardsman. I'll carry this to your lady love. And I'll, as I'm about to walk down, I'll remember Kruz's question and try and see if there's anything that looks like a good place to camp.
From where you can see upon the wall, looking out, you do see between the two buildings that is, the guardsman pointed out, there are two other ones. The one in the middle doesn't seem so damaged or so broken. That might be a good place to rest for the night.
All right. Oh, there's a place up here that might work. Thank you, guardsman. And I'll bring the pole arm across my chest and brace on the breastplate and give him a nod.
The guardsman looks at you, stands up straight, tightens himself up a little bit, and though he cannot breathe, seems as though he takes a breath and reassumes his guardsman position, this time with a little bit more pride.
Camden, I have an idea, and just bear with me. Look at him and take that position again and tell him he is dismissed.
No, I don't need to do that.
And it might be the thing he needs to leave his duty. An officer to relieve him.
Absolutely. I'm not an officer. I'm not his officer, and that's not what's keeping him here. All I have to do is take this thing over there, and we'll be good. So, here, how about I come down, and then I don't have to shout down across this pile of rubble at you?
It's raining, don't slip.
Thanks, Mum.
And actually, Ela stifles a laugh at that. Like, legit.
Oh, no. Ghastgar is definitely giggling right up on top of your head.
Kruz bends his head back to, like, slide Ghastgar off his horns.
Dexterity save here?
Nah, you're able to either slide off or hold on. It's not that hard.
I hold on.
Okay. Parker and Vall, both of you have been in here and observed everything that has happened.
No, at this point, I'm just hanging back.
Okay.
Not going to lie. Ghosts and whatnot are outside of my field of expertise. I deal with people and running from them.
And murdering them.
Only if I cannot run away. But this entire place, spited by Darathan.
Kruz is going to start walking through the arch.
You all pass through. Which building do you go to? I should ask.
I'm going to head towards the one that he pointed at bedding down.
Getting closer, you realize that entering the city and going a little bit further into it, the mist does seem to dissipate ever so slightly. You're able to now see 30 feet around you without assistance. You begin to see on your right almost identical looking buildings. All of these, though, being much more broken and in ruin than the others. The one he pointed out does seem to be the most whole, and seeing it from this angle, from the main street, it is the back half that has collapsed, but collapsed in full, leaving it still sealed, though the size of the building would do for at least like a warehouse that has collapsed halfway in. Plenty of room still for anything that would be need done, especially for bedding down, it would seem. The building just beyond that, the building the guardsman pointed out to you in particular, Camden, does seem to be a little bit more in ruin. You are able to see the inside, several of the rooms, most of which that have collapsed in on themselves, though the doors that would have been able to allow access into this particular building have been crushed, and seems as though you'd have to scale the rubble in order to get through one of the doors in order to access the rest of the building.
Look, as we're getting to the warehouse type building, Camden will turn to the group and say, look, I realize there's nothing that requires us to do this, but the guardsman asked me to deliver this letter to his lost love and said she'd be in that building there. So you can bed down and I can go. Or we could go together before we do. And then I look at Ela.
Ela, who's taken, once he says what direction the building's in, I've already taken about 5 steps that direction, and now I'm waiting.
It's only been about 8 hours or so. I'm still good for another long march.
Wherever his horns go, I go.
All right. Well, to put the undead to rest, it looks like we're up for a climb. Does anyone have any rope?
Vall will dump out 2 sections of rope, each one connected to a grappling hook.
I think that'll help.
Kruz is going to pull out a rope and grappling hook as well, just out from under his cloak.
Bring my claws out just a little bit and get ready for scurrying.
So those who are going to use the grappling hooks, make a strength check.
Oh boy.
So we're at the bottom of like a towery looking thing?
The building that's partially collapsed.
Oh, okay, Camden would know very, very well. Ela does not climb or do anything that is remotely strength-based.
Ela, why don't you hold on to the end of this rope, and then when we're up there, we'll pull you up.
I will cast guidance on you again, because it's probably faded.
Very good.
Vall on his roll, a total of 20.
Okay.
So, on a nat 20, that's a 24.
Okay.
Maybe
Very
Kruz
good.
needs to pull me up today, I'm just saying.
Kruz is just going to look and just jump right up to the top of it.
This is for throwing grappling hooks, my friend. You are not able to climb this
I don't have a grappling hook. I don't need to do it.
Well, then how
Sorry, I thought Huum dropped 2 of them, so I figured you picked one up.
Okay. Well, that being the case, let's see. That comes out to a glorious 8
8
with guidance.
makes it halfway up. It looks like you'd be able to get to another purchase to try again if you'd like. Although Huum's throw and Kruz's throw make it to the top, and so now there are safe ways of scaling the rubble without having to make any other further strength checks, if you desire.
I'll just climb up the rope. I don't have anything to prove.
A way is provided when it is needed, yes?
With that strength check, can I just wrap my tail around Leah and just take her up with me?
I mean,
Do you mean Ela?
she'd have to be willing. I don't know.
Kruz is going to look at her and be like, you can just hitch a ride if you want to go up and we don't have to make multiple runs.
I also don't have anything to prove.
You will scurry up the rope via your means or other. Some carried, some not. But you are able to make your way to the top of these ropes, precariously perched on some fairly shaky rubble, but you're able to deduce that these buildings were not made very cleanly. They were put together in a fairly ramshackle way. I mean, best as possible, but with materials down here being not necessarily the best or most accessible, then it's not the best craftsmanship. But having made it up to one of the broken doors, there's about a 10-foot section where you're able to stand unimpeded. It seems to be the remnants of some form of living room, as there is a half-buried table where Huum's grappling hook had hooked upon before allowing you all to climb it. And there you stand at a door that leads into the building.
Kruz is going to pull his sword and ready his shield right in front of the door.
Okay.
If I may, I just knock on the door 3 times.
You knock on the door. You know what? Fine. Right.
I love it when the DM says, fine. It's my favorite.
Well, I mean, I wasn't expecting this, but fine.
Beautiful.
The door opens, actually, after a polite knock. Before you stands a beautiful elven woman. Common peasant clothes don most of her. her hair tied back into 2 beautiful buns. She looks to be about anywhere between recent elven years, 20 to about 30. And though it's always been hard to tell with elves. She answers the door, opens it up, and, excuse me, yes?
There are people still alive down here?
Well, I'm here.
Does she look like I'm looking? Does she look alive? Does she look... I don't know, whatever.
Please make a medicine check.
Okay, hang on.
While she's doing that, I say, "Are you Mistress Rose?"
No, I am not. I do know Mistress Rose, though.
And I am sorry, I wasn't able to read her first name. Do you have it? Well, you know her, of course.
Miriam Rose. Yes, what was your medicine check?
16.
She looks alive. She looks fine and good. It's really nothing untoward. I mean, the air smells of sulfur. Everything kind of stinks, so...
Can I do a check to make sure she's not undead? Like a vampire or zombie?
Make a medicine check. It's the same thing. It's the anatomy of the creature.
Those are 3.
Okay. Well, as you, she nods to you.
Beautiful.
And motions you inside and begins to walk down the hallway.
Okay. I'd like to make an insight check. I don't know how you guys do that, if it's something prompted or...
Yes, make an insight check on her.
I just want to see if it feels like she's being genuine, or if she was telling the truth that she knows.
Okay.
Mistress Rose.
Yeah, I suppose this is the question. Do my animal instincts kind of kept kicking earlier with the silvered shade? Is like anything bristling me?
Please roll a... Ghastgar. Roll a percentile, please.
Oh, no.
Oh, what?
I like these.
Oh,
words.
no.
Okay.
I got a 16 on my insight.
52.
52. Yes. Okay. Yes.
Oh no, it's already too
The
late.
DM just fist pumped y'all. It's never good.
Yes.
Oh,
It's
no.
amazing.
Oh.
So,
Oh.
for your 16, the random genuineness of her statement, as her eyes did fall, and she did seem actually genuinely sad at the mention of the name. She did seem quite honest, strangely enough. Ghastgar, the door opens, and in taking just a few steps and seeing the interior of one of these rooms, the mist begins to almost glow blue around you for a moment, like it's emanating from behind you.
I turn around and look at this blue light.
There's nothing there. The blue light is gone.
It's beautiful.
What? Guys, did anybody see that blue light just now? It looked like it was coming from this way, but like behind us. I just turned around, but there's nothing here now.
It begins to emanate from behind you again.
And I turn, guys, it's behind me now. Again. There.
This time, when you look back forward, you see, just for the briefest moment, something pass by your face, like a tree branch.
Do I see him reacting to things at all as I'm standing there. I haven't gone inside it much, but
You see him beginning to react very strangely, yes.
Yeah, what was that?
Ghastgar, are you okay?
Okay, so there was a blue light that was behind me, and I turned around and it was gone. And then there was a blue light behind me again, and I turned around, and this time I saw like this glowing blue tree branch thing like zip past my face, and now it's gone again.
This is seeming familiar to you, Ghastgar. You have seen this many times.
Is this from the dream?
It's seeming very, very familiar.
Suddenly, every single one of the hairs on my body is bristled, and I grab, I have my knife in hand. I am ready to go. Guys, I think we're in danger.
Kruz is trying to keep up with the mongoose on his head that went from nice and calm to angry tomcat, bearing all of his claws. Kruz is trying to keep up with his movements as he's whipping back and forth. He can't really see anything because he's trying to keep up with him. He still hasn't released his guard of sword and shield. He still has that withdrawn out.
Okay.
And Kruz is going to say, Ghastgar, I don't know what's wrong with you, but this does not feel right. There shouldn't be people alive in a destroyed city filled with monsters. Where are the monsters? Why aren't we seeing anything?
At this point, you see me snap my fingers, and this little, almost spider-esque sort of thing runs up from my fingers up onto my shoulder and mounts on it, and it looks like it's got a little gun.
Okay. Elo, you were going to do something?
yeah. So I haven't gone really inside. Maybe like kind of in the doorway.
Mm-hmm.
Can I still see Camden with this chick?
Yes. Camden, have you followed her?
Oh,
Kyle?
absolutely.
Or
Yeah.
all right. Yes.
I calling after him. I just go, hey,
Well,
things not right.
Is there a problem?
I wasn't talking to you.
Oh, my apologies.
So Kruz would be in between her and Camden.
Yeah. No, I know.
So Kruz is just going to say, Camden, don't go further. This doesn't feel right.
I'll turn facing into the building, away from the others, and briefly tracing along my arm, or just like briefly, moving my fingers down my arm. I'm going to say the prayer of invocation for detect evil and good.
Okay. And what is that for is that a save or?
No, I don't think so.
It doesn't do anything to him.
It's just
to
I
know.
am able to detect the presence of various things. The
Aberration, fiend, fae, celestial, elemental, or undead. You also know if a place or object has been consecrated or...
Desecrated.
Thank you.
Desecrated.
Sorry. Brain late at night.
Oh, good.
Deconsecrated. That's not right.
and it is a concentration spell.
As these players have thrown the DM off and he is cycling through his mounds of D&D books looking for everything.
No, I just needed this. I have it here. Sorry. one of the advantages of just recently looking these creatures up.
Do you remember that pipe dream as a DM that you could prepare for whatever your players are going to throw at you, and you could just be prepared for all of that?
I learned very early in my DMing career that that's not how things work ever.
Who is closest to the door right now?
Probably me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The guy who probably made the door.
Yeah.
Wow, that was...
I'm going to throw my
amazing.
hold portal magic attack to her, and I'm going to say it's called hold portal, and I'm going to say cast this on the door so it doesn't shut on us.
All right. Do I know how to work these things? Because Triss is new to this particular world.
So, interestingly enough, for the design of Magitech drives, you are able to activate this via its ability to just be used, the spell being like infused into it. You just have to exert your will in order to make the effect happen.
Oh, okay.
To remove these because it is annoyingly.
Looks painful.
Frack. Sorry.
That made me glad to not have hair. Good job,
My
Sawyer.
apologies. Okay, so it is able to detect fiend, fae, undead, correct?
Celestial, elemental,
Aberration.
aberration.
You could just correct me. It'd be okay.
I did.
What's funny is you do not get a ping on this creature.
Oh, and consecrated or desecrated. Sorry. Within 30 feet.
There is no ping upon your sense
Right.
for this
That is
particular person.
incorrect, actually. I ping.
Why?
I'm
Because a satyr is fey.
Oh, yes. Well, you ping. The satyr suddenly pops up.
I'm not surprised by that, however.
Yes, no. This particular woman does not ping as anything untoward in regard to those categories, which is actually something that surprised me personally.
All right. With everybody like on their like hyper alert guard, I just say, well, keep watch then. And I keep following her in.
Ugh.
Okay.
I'm gonna stay at the door.
I'm going to go with it. I'm not leaving the door.
And I hop down right quick.
So, do you like just kamikaze off the side of the horns to the floor, or do you climb down? How does that go?
Oh, I just jumped down.
Okay. No, I'm not gonna be able to actually catch you, but as soon as you get to the floor, I'm gonna be like right there, nose to nose with you.
Hey,
Tell me what you know.
so I have dreams like once a week, maybe even more, where I see that tree branch that I saw as it's whacking me in the face while I'm being chased by some figure that I cannot see in the distance. And my form has been different, and every time I wake up, it's right after I jump off a waterfall. We're in a really wet spot.
How to interpret that?
Neither do I, but all I know is every time I have that dream, I am racked with fear, and I am not somebody who spooks easy.
You know, I believe that, but I need my partner. I'll be worried.
I think so.
What do I do?
I'm going to have my little spider-like device crawl up onto her shoulder, and
Oh, God.
if you want it to fire, say shoot, and that thing will shoot out. It'll become a flamethrower.
Oh. It's very weird. Thank you.
And very close to your face.
Thank you. And
You can have it crawl out onto your wrist and be like a wrist mount if you want. I just figure it's easier to pivot if it's there, but do with what you want.
Oh. All right. Okay. Thank you. And I'll stand up and I will follow Camden, probably, I don't know how far he is down the hall now, probably 30, 40 feet behind.
Mm-hmm. You quickly catch up to him, being led by this mysterious woman.
Oh, and Kruz, who's probably in front of me.
Oh, yeah. Kruz, who's going down as well. So behind Kruz, and Kruz, you catch up to Dalen.
Oh yeah, Kruz, the giant tiefling, whatever.
Yep. And for the record, that is the thing that I was working on, more so for narrative purposes.
From Triss's perspective, it's so cool, and I love everything about it.
Eldritch Cannon.
Leading down to the end of the hall, she turns down a set of stairs. Just a single flight that lead down to what would be the ground floor. Down another hall, she stops 3 doors down out of the 6. Turns and opens the door. Yes?
Just to clarify that the detect evil and good is a concentration spell that lasts for 10 minutes.
Detect evil and good.
And yeah, it's all of the things still, just the Fey, Fiend, Celestial, Undead. I already forgot.
Aberration, Fiend, Fey, Celestial, Elemental, or Undead. I just have it pulled up. That's
Consecrated and Desecrated.
Yeah, area. Yeah.
Okay.
So as soon as something comes within 30 feet of me, I will know.
Okay. Okay. Then within 30 feet of this doorway, you would detect an undead presence within.
Very good.
Okay, so with most of you having filed down this stairway, the woman stops in front of this door and opens it.
Hey everybody, this is Chris Cornish, your audiomancer for Critting It. I just want to take a little time out to ask you to do a couple of things for us. Find us on Twitter and follow us if you haven't already. We are at crit_n_it. Also, if you could please leave us a rating and review on iTunes or Google Podcasts or wherever else that you find us, it would help other people find us and get the story out to others. And speaking of the story, let's hop back into it.
Inside you will find dear Rose.
Thank you. I didn't catch your name, and I apologize.
We have many names, but mine is Lorelei.
Lorelei. Pleasure. My name is
Camden. And what, Mr. Camden, are you here for, if I might ask?
Something lost.
You are not here, might I ask, to destroy these dear specters, are you?
I am trying to free the specters. It's very able. It's I am. But that's not my purpose.
You see her crack a smile. I can sense what is on you. This is not your true purpose. Prove what you are here to do. And she motions inside.
I walk through the door.
Through the door you find quite the scene. A half-destroyed room. The bed crushed beneath a large stone. The dresser thrown to the side, seemingly completely sundered once the building collapsed. You see in the far right corner a woman staring out a window. Broken and shattered, the glass is everywhere. She is a specter. Her hand set upon the windowsill, just looking out longingly. Below her you find a skeleton, clutching a single rose with a small metallic band around the stem.
Mistress Rose.
You see her head turn to you.
I have a letter for you.
begins to move towards you, walking, but alas, her feet not necessarily touching the ground when she comes to you. Reaches out.
I hold it and place it in her hand.
It's strange. As she grasps it, you see the paper actually begin to crinkle. She begins to open the seal and unfurl the letter. For but a few moments, you see, similar to the guard, a single tear slip past and disappear back into her transparent face. She looks to you for a moment before beginning to fade. A small silver bell upon her neck falls to the ground, her entire being seeming almost to collapse into a single blue dot in front of you, before it falls like a water droplet and splashes onto the small metallic sphere, which then gains small lines that begin to strike through it, and the letter floats to the ground quietly.
I will pick up the pendant and pick up the letter.
Okay.
And very carefully fold the letter back up and put it into into my pocket or someplace that I can keep it safe. Probably in a side pouch of my backpack.
Okay.
And then I'll turn and walk out. I'll just continue out of the building and out past Ghastgar and out to the wall as long as without saying anything. And
You know you're going past everybody
Yep.
else, right? Because we're all right behind you.
absolutely,
Okay.
I just turn and walk.
I touch you as you go by.
I'm not done yet.
David, I'll let you pass. Right, James, you were going to say something.
I was just following.
At the time that you pass Ghastgar, do you make any eye contact or anything with him, or are you just deadpan walking past?
I'd give him a nod.
Okay. Because that was going to freak Ghastgar the heck out.
Yeah, just a little nod of the head. It's all good kind of thing. I don't say it's all good. But. And I walk back out and I climb back up the wall to the guardsman.
So, climbing the rubble back up, you notice even at a distance, the lonely figure of the guardsman is not there. However, there is another figure standing in his place. You see an old human man standing there in what looks to be a dirty leather apron, just covered in various pieces and bits of dust and rubble. And you see him holding in his hand a small silver bauble with blue lines through it.
So I approach.
Okay. I see that you were doing as you were told to do. You are just, but I do not believe that returning these things is the right decision.
Why?
We are here to protect what this place is and these people. And we will do so no matter what.
Thank you that you have the right to keep these people from the afterlife they are meant for.
We would release them if we could, but we can't. Only the living, well, the not necessarily unliving as we are not, but we are also not. We lack the ability to fulfill these people's desires, and we have been guarding this place for quite some time. We await when people like you come and disregard the very life that these people once lived and destroy them to collect these. We will not stand by while this happens.
Can I hear this happening?
If you followed him, you would hear it.
Yeah.
Where's the whole party at this point? Have we all followed him?
Have you all followed him?
I did.
I was right on his heels.
As soon as Kruz would have walked by, I would have done a little hop with the expectation of landing on an elbow and scurrying up to the horns again.
Oh yeah, I put my shield down for him to run up my shield up to my shoulder onto the horns.
Okay.
When I hear disregard, I pull out my rapier and I shout up that direction. Disregard! You know who you're speaking to?
I do not. Who am I speaking to?
You should educate yourself.
I'm going to nudge Ghastgar with a horn and say, who is he speaking to? Is he important?
And I look at Kruz and I say, not in the slightest. That's not the point. And I look back up.
Oh, okay.
Okay, what is interesting about once you shout, you should learn who you are. Camden, you see him still holding the bauble. Just slip it into his front pouch of his leather apron, and then slip and disappear, just almost like collapse in front of you. You see a thick globule suddenly move down the wall, slithering as it does across the rubble, and then appear in front of you, Ela, reforming into the old man, and lean into you. Then educate me. Who are you and whom am I speaking?
I look up at Camden as I laugh. What is it you want here?
You gone. We guard this place.
Why?
Are you not part of the guilds?
Perhaps. Why does that matter?
He produces the small sphere. Do you know what they do with these once they reach the surface?
Should I?
I would imagine if you were harvesting them for them, that you would want to know what you are dealing with and what happens to the objects that you give these people.
What exactly makes you think I give them to them? Or give them anything, really?
Because you are guild members. And I have, let's just say, explored the minds of plenty of them to know what happens to these when they leave.
What is the appearance of this man?
An old, weathered human.
What's he wearing?
A dirty leather apron, torn clothes, covered in dust and rubble.
Now that he's down and closer to us, the object that he was holding, not the bauble that he put away, but this new one, is there a way I can identify it?
It's the same bubble.
Oh, it is the same bubble?
Yeah, he just produced it from his pocket.
Oh, can I identify that?
Roll an Arcana check on it.
Nice. Nat 19, so 23.
23. Looking closer at it, you would recall a long, long ago spell from your studies. Not really much of an interest, but it had a funny name, so you recalled it. It was known as Soul Jar, and it was a spell that would capture the soul of a creature within an object and keep it there for permanency.
And I can just deduce that that's what they've done with these people.
Seems as though it is most likely.
Okay.
But leaning in closer again to you, it is all the same. You are all the same. And so I have taken a stand to protecting these people against people like you.
To put such a label on all shows a very high level of ignorance, my friend. Perhaps you should look a bit closer if you've said you've looked at so many minds.
While this is happening, Camden is going to sigh and start climbing down the wall.
Okay. Okay.
Grumbling a bit.
Oh, yes. He interlaces his fingers and then begins to study you very closely.
I don't flinch or back away. I just hold him. Is anybody close to me? Anybody besides Camden, like right up next to me?
Everyone else has joined.
Kruz is right there with you.
Anybody who's close enough to be looking at me as he starts to like really stare at me. My eyes go from kind of normal like blue-brown to just straight white across. But I hold his gaze.
Well, I do have one question to ask you. Does a 26 hit?
Yeah, oh yeah. That's cute. I liked that you asked me at least.
Of course, I have to ask. Just to make absolutely sure. You take 7 points of damage.
Ouch.
As the arm of the man hits you in the head. It has turned into what looks like almost like a polyp of some sort. But when it hits your head, it sticks and stops. In a moment, you find yourself reliving days, weeks, months, years of your life. And in a flash of nigh blinding white light, broken by several memories, you feel your facade begin to almost drop and waver as you are unable to concentrate as to which form, what second you are in, what moment of your life, what are you at this moment. And then...
Oh, this would be cool from the outside.
It releases and begins to retract back to him.
What do we see when he does that?
You see her form begin to shift and shimmer. You see almost a dragonborn, an elf, a human, a halfling, female, male, long hair, short, everything just kind of in a moment just kind of begins to haze before she once again, after the polyp tears off of her head, settles back down into her current form.
Can before that polyp gets back to his side, can Kruz, or before it disconnects from her head, Kruz is gonna try to cut her off.
Just to see the exact effect, make a wisdom saving throw.
Natural 20, so 26. That means I'm not going to be able to hit the broadside of a barn in our fight, but that's okay.
Yep. That dice is spent.
I'll even take a picture of it to prove it.
So upon being hit, feeling your mind be attacked, you do not take any extra damage or effects to you. But as its arm once again kind of retails to itself, Kruz, please make your attack.
23.
23. You do hit.
As all of this is happening, do I have any inclination of whether this individual, this thing, has like malicious intent?
At the moment, surmising that it has retracted itself and seems very, very much like it just said, "Well, fine."
Yeah.
It has that kind of look on its face of, you said prove it, and it did. It doesn't look like it's any more malicious towards you at the moment. Like it's readying for a brawl.
Okay, so as Kruz, as you swing, I say, "No, wait." Obviously too late, but...
Actually, it's really important you said that for Ghastgar's sake. Because I was about to say fire to my thing and have it blast a cone of fire. But...
Oh yeah, because it's on me!
Does 12 damage take his arm off?
Oh, no.
Wait, 12 damage doesn't take his arm off?
Oh, no. No.
Oh, guys, we're so screwed.
With my sword covered in this silver powdery stuff?
Ah, well, considering your sword was silvered. No, it doesn't.
Sawyer, you're my hero.
It's fun to be a DM. It's fun to lead people on and play the game while you're playing the game. All right, you strike the creature, and its arm, as it's kind of retracting back, kind of bends at a very sharp angle for a moment before retracting back into a human hand. He looks to you angrily, but looks back. Well, now I understand. Right? You are not who I would have initially expected. You are not down here for reasons others are.
And?
I have yet to know if I can trust you, though.
And I look at...
Your friends, at least. You and I suspect him up there have both proven your mettle.
I don't know. Give them a chance, perhaps.
And what would you expect of us in order to prove that we are not like the other that you've become not so fond of?
Succeed in calming the spirits of 2 more I know, and I will lead at least 2 of you to something you desire very greatly. Yes, I possess that which you desire. I have it.
Is he looking at me still?
Yes. And up to Damon, or Camden.
And I sense that which he is referring to.
You can surmise that the thing that he is referring to is in fact the object that has drawn you here.
Right. Does he, what I mean is it within 30 feet of me?
The object?
Yes.
No.
Okay.
Considering you're 30 feet of hallowed or desecrated. No, it is not. Though those objects are most certainly hallowed.
Can I do an insight check to see if I think he's telling the truth?
Please roll.
Nope. Don't know. I'm absolutely sure he's telling the truth.
You're pretty, though.
The goo man is very difficult to read. Coming up behind you now, you see Lorelei walking just up the street. And you hear them both say at the same time and in tandem, "Follow us." And they turn and begin to walk down the street.
As they do that, I say, "A moment.
They stop.
You've traveled long through all of this, and I would imagine you can appreciate mortal limitations for rest and food. Might we have such?"
You shall. I have the most appropriate accommodations if you desire. A place where you can rest with good food. Follow us. And they continue on.
I'll turn and look to the others. I think they're well-meaning at least. Are you willing to go with us?
I jump from Kruz's horns over to your shoulder.
All right. I'll raise up my fist up to him.
Pound
like
it.
Yeah. Fist bump.
As they bro out there for a second, I look at the other 3. Don't assume that each speaks for the other.
You would be correct.
Kruz is just staring at the individual. He can't bring himself to trust this guy. And first off, I don't. Kruz doesn't know what he did to you, and he doesn't know what he's happening to you, and all he can tell is whatever the goo guy did made you shift through crazy things. He doesn't know if that was your body doing it or something about him making you do that. And Kruz is uneasy. Everything in his body is screaming, don't trust this goo.
Huum's just going to pound a fist on your armor. Just once, just that camaraderie of bunk.
I just kind of look back at you, nod.
Come on, let's see what's going to happen.
You can all die.
We are either all going to die, or we will see someone who has been personally blessed by Sigwin.
Well, I can tell you this. They're not undead. They're not angels or demons. They're not elementals.
Something different.
There's something different.
And I turned to Kruz. No, I wouldn't trust. But we're here. Or you could go home. And I smile.
Well, I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving you guys. That's just not me. But I'm not going to trust them. So we have to stay on our guard.
Always. Always.
I don't think anybody said, hey, let's go be stupid.
Have you heard Kruz talk?
Mr. Prax.
I hate everything that's going on here, but I'm grossly curious.
I elbow Camden and say, see, I knew I liked him.
Well, that makes someone. I'm just kidding. I don't know you enough to know if I like you or not.
Shut up.
But
You are justified. He is the worst bard. He sings nothing happy. He is upset all the time.
You take that back.
Oh, what? You're going to pout at me? Come on.
Hey, you've never inspired me.
well,
Wow.
Then it will never happen.
Kruz is going to look at Parker and say, I find you very inspiring.
Well, thank you.
And with that, he's going to sheath his sword and say, but I'm with you guys.
Well, with someone like your inability to play an instrument still getting into bard school, someone has to be proud of you.
Oh dear.
I thought it was dark enough down here without throwing shade like that.
I will nod at all of the men and start walking behind our weird tour guides.
Okay.
And real quick, I'll quickly step up with her and in a low voice say, "You're all right. I saw what you did."
Been better, but been worse. It'll be all right. At least they talked to us, right?
Feel yourself.
I look myself over. I don't know. Do I look myself?
Always look yourself.
Then you have your answer.
All right.
All right. Continuing on, it's strange. Does anyone have a passive perception over 15?
No.
Over 15 or 15 and over?
15 and over.
Oh, yes.
Parker, Prax, Ayla, and Vall. All three of you notice something strange about your little tour guides. As they're walking back towards the center of town, past the three buildings that you guys saw earlier, you enter into what seems to be almost like a large marketplace. You see a place advertising a carpenter, a mason, pottery, blacksmith, sculptor, you name it, seems to be in the center area. Most of it pertaining to building, as this place was set up rather quickly, and this was probably all that could be sold as any form of currency or good down here. But in the center of this all is a plaza. And in the center of the plaza is what looked to be a great fountain, but it has been sundered and broken. As they are walking past it, you notice thin silver lines Exiting out of this cracked and broken fountain and the hole that delves within, you see these thin silver lines connecting themselves to the very ends of the heels of your two tour guides as they pass by. And continue on.
Can I get a knowledge nature on that?
You can get a knowledge nature on that.
All right. So that is a 21.
In the southern sandlands, traded in small amounts, were small vials of a black tar-like substance. It was usually said to be a very potent poison slipped into the black coffees or various very dark teas of people who had a very burning desire to see someone perish very quickly. Now, these substances were almost seemed to known to move around in their own vials and kind of writhe by themselves. This seems very similar to those, and you'd recall the name of the poison as black pudding. And as these two tour guides or creatures continue on, you see them pass by a small, almost like a manhole, in two silver lines and connect to their feet as the ones behind detach and slip back down into the hole. And Parker and Ayla, you'd both see that as well.
I'm going to call it out that those look an awful lot like this poison I know of called black pudding.
Sawyer, can I make a check?
Make a history check. Because you would have studied old creatures. And let's see, what would...
That's another nat 19 for a total of 23.
Learning in your bard college of tales of old, you would have recalled, at least in one portion, singing a song of a great hero named Vesemir. And Vesemir was known as the great slayer of oozes. Would traipse through various dungeons and slay the bloody things. It was more of a tale of, the uselessness of adventurers on occasion, and them getting lost in the frivolous work, but finding passion in it nonetheless. And it is in recalling this story that this sounds an awful lot like an ooze.
Black pudding, you say?
I believe it's what they were putting in people's coffee.
If I do recall, black pudding is a type of ooze.
No, I said it was a poison.
Oh, well, this ooze might secrete the poison used, but I believe it is an ooze.
The blobby slime monster.
Correct.
Well, if it is, it's, they are more than just an ooze, because they have a consciousness, because they have morality, sense of good and evil. Elsewise, they'd have done something else by now. So, ooze it may have been, ooze it may be from, but one is not merely what you're made of.
You all, at this point, reach the building in which they had been leading you. A red stone building with a shattered oculus on the top. The blue shards broken out and laid upon the ground. Reaching the door, they stop.